Hello, Tribe community. Here I'm Amy. I'm one of the co-founders of Tribe, which is we teach resilience, increase balance, and endurance. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit that works to bring the tools of yoga to the active duty community. I will be teaching about a 30-minute flow today. That'll work a lot on, it'll be full body. We'll get into the hips a little bit and legs and core for sure, but mainly working on some rotation and mobility of the shoulders and upper back. And for props today, I will just, in theory, you don't need any props. I'll be on a mat and I'm going to start just seated on a pillow from my couch. But if you don't have that, that's okay. We'll be ready to go. So before we get started, I would like to say that today Tribe's online moral injury training opens for registration. It's a 100% self-paced online course. And so I've left the link in the bio, and if you have no idea what moral injury is and you don't know what I'm talking about, I definitely encourage you to click on the link and find out about it. So we are happy to have you join us, and here at Nonprofits, we are always super appreciative for any shares. If you know anyone that might benefit from any of our videos, we have breathwork, meditation, discussion, as well as physical movement practices or donations. There's a donation button right on our Facebook page. So we will go ahead and get started today. Like I said, I have this pillow, and I'm going to come to sit on the pillow so that just my sits bones are hanging off of it. So I'm not all the way on the pillow, but I'm sitting so that my sits bones are just off of the pillow. So this is when I'm on it. You can see that my knees are up a little bit, but when I come right to the edge of it, then my knees naturally just fall down a bit because it's like the bowl of my pelvis is spilling forward. So this will help naturally open our hips as we get started. So just find a seat that's comfortable for you. If cross-legged's not comfortable for you, you can sit on your thighs. And we'll roll our shoulders. We'll be dealing and moving with some circles today, as it's the first Monday in spring. Change of seasons reminds us of this circular pattern of the earth. So roll your shoulders here, and now let's spin them the other way. As you're rolling your shoulders, can you reach the crown of your head, maybe even feel down on the crown of the head and push it into your hands a little bit taller here. Now let's find some stillness in our shoulders and just take a full inhale through the nose. Notice how your belly, chest get this round circular feeling as well with the air. And then let's make our mouth into that round shape as we exhale out the mouth. Inhale through the nose again. And exhale out the mouth. And we'll inhale through the nose. And this time, after you reach the top of your inhale, we'll exhale out the nose this time, sealing the lips. Let's reach the arms long now, and then inhale the arms up and exhale them down, making the circle around the body. Inhale up, maybe the gaze goes up. Exhale back down. Inhale up, and as you reach up, can you knit the low ribs in so that we're not arching at the back? We're in a straight line here. Low ribs knit in as you reach through the side body. So feel the side body getting longer. Exhale back down. Inhale, reach the arms up. And this time, just like cactus or goalposts, can you draw the elbows down towards the side? And this time we do want to reach the breastbone. It's a little bit higher towards the ceiling as we gather the shoulder blades onto the back. Inhale, arms up, gaze up. Exhale, draw those cactus arms down as you reach the sternum towards the sky. Inhale, up. Exhale down, warming up the shoulders. Inhale up. exhale down. You can even pretend that you're really pulling on something or pulling your body up, and notice this activation of the shoulder blades. Can you imagine drawing them in to help that lift of the sternum here? Inhale up, and then this time we'll exhale the arms straight down to the side. From here, let's just circle at the hips. So again, imagining leading with the sternum that we just opened up. Can you draw your sternum forward towards the right knee, and then towards the left knee, and then back, as though if you were a square, it would be that back left corner into the back right corner. So creating circles with the sternum. And you'll notice that this bowl that is your pelvis will begin to circle a little bit too. But imagine this breastbone leading the way, leading the circles. And open up at the hips. Allow the hips and the knees to rise up, whatever feels natural for you to make this movement. There may be a lot of movement or maybe a little less movement, and the hands can be on the thighs for support. So exploring these circular movements between the change of seasons, the circular flow of the earth. And let's reverse directions now. So the sternum is leading us in the opposite way. Notice if there's a little bit more distance or space in your circle than when you first started. If not, that's okay. Maybe you've opened up your hips or your shoulders, or maybe you've just gotten a little bit more comfortable to move into this space. And let's meet in the middle now. A little bit of stillness. Full inhale here. Notice the ribs, belly expand in that circle outwards. And exhale out the nose. Let's switch the cross of the legs now. So put the hands down and just bring whatever leg was opposite into the front. So it probably feels a little awkward. So we'll just notice that. Maybe it doesn't, but notice what you feel. And then leading with the sternum again, let's just do those circles. So move the hips in an opposite way. Notice if the core needs to engage, or if the hips are engaging, or if you're engaging at the hands to hold on. There's not necessarily a universal way to do this, but just notice what's happening within your body. Where can you feel this engagement or this rounding? And again, leading with the sternum, let's switch directions. Maybe lean back a little bit further. Maybe you can start to lean back so far that you do need to really engage at the hands and then pull yourself forward. So if you previously didn't feel it in the arms, maybe begin to engage the arms a little bit more and see if that allows you a little bit more space. And if you have tightened at the jaw, maybe or the eyes, just give yourself a little smile and see if that releases it. And let's come to meet in the center. And full inhale here. Full exhale out the nose. From here, if you're seated on a pillow or a prop, blanket, whatever, you can just move that to the side. And we'll roll over the knees to meet in this tabletop position. So hips will be stacked over knees and shoulders over wrists. And so from here, again, leading with the sternum as we did before, can you inhale, reach your sternum forward as you reach your tailbone up towards the ceiling for cow pose. Exhale to round, bringing in this circular motion again for cat. Inhale, reach forward, and exhale, round back into cat. Inhale, reach into cow, and exhale, round into cat. Let's meet at a neutral spine now, and we'll move the right hand a little bit more towards center of the mat, probably about under the sternum. And we'll hover the left hand and then inhale, reach it up towards the ceiling. Gather the shoulder blades on the back as you do this, and imagine twisting the sternum just a little closer to the ceiling here. And then exhale, thread the arm right under the left hand. Inhale to open it. So we'll move here, creating the circle or the rainbow with the arm. Inhale, exhale, inhale to open, and exhale to go and thread. Inhale, we'll hold open, root down through the hand on the mat as you maybe draw this top arm a little bit closer to the space behind you as the sternum and the right ribs reach a little closer to the ceiling. Inhale to reach the crown of the head closer to the mat, front of the mat, and exhale that top arm back down. Let's move the left hand towards the center of the mat now. I'll rotate so you don't see my back. And inhale, now lift the right arm up towards the ceiling as you reach the sternum a little close to the ceiling as well. Exhale to thread under the grounded hand. Inhale to open and reach. Exhale to thread. Inhale, open and reach. Exhale to thread. Inhale, open and reach. Again, reaching those bottom ribs a little bit closer to the ceiling as you draw the top arm back to the space behind you. Exhale to thread. Inhale, open and reach, and we'll hold here as you lengthen the crown of the head to the top of the mat. Draw the top arm back and imagine spinning those bottom ribs up towards the ceiling. Inhale and exhale that top arm back down. From here, let's go ahead and walk down onto the forearm. So put down the right forearm and then the left forearm. And nothing else in the body has changed, but really root down through the forearms, and the forearms make the number 11 right on the front of the mat. And from here, let's see how cat-cow feels any different. So draw the tailbone and the sternum and the chin towards each other for cat. And then inhale, reach through for cow. And toes can be tucked or untucked. Find what's comfortable for you. Inhale to cat. Exhale to cow. Inhale to cat. Exhale to cow. From here, let's strongly root down through the right arm. Maybe you draw it a little bit to center. And then we'll float the left hand and forearm off the mat and bring it behind the head. And so draw the elbow strongly out to the side. Notice if it wants to sink down. So draw it out to the side and imagine that your left arm is still grounded. So nothing else in the body changed. Just notice if you want to sink down. You really have to reach and draw this right forearm into the mat to maintain the lift. And from here, imagine just touching this left elbow, maybe to the right wrist or forearm, and then inhale it open. So similar movement to the thread the needle, but notice where you may feel a little bit more restricted, a little bit more work. So inhale to open, drawing that elbow as close as it'll get to the ceiling. Exhale to bring it down. Inhale to open. Exhale to bring it down. Really root down through that forearm. Inhale to open. We'll hold here. Again, imagine reaching that sternum forward as you reach the crown of the head up. Exhale to return to neutral. Forearm and elbow out to the side. And exhale the left arm back down. This time I'll pivot so that you can see me head on. So again, maybe this left forearm comes about to the center of the mat, about in line with your sternum. And the right forearm, the fingers will come just behind the head as the forearm and the elbow reach to the side. So on the inhale, open up towards the side of the mat, elbow moving towards the top of the ceiling, probably won't make it. Exhale back down. Inhale, root down strongly through the left forearm as you reach up. Exhale back down. Inhale, root down through the left forearm to reach up. See if you can get those bottom ribs a little closer to the ceiling. Exhale back down. Inhale, up, broaden through the collarbones as you reach the crown of the head forward. Exhale back down. And inhale, reach and draw the hip points back. This hip of the lifted elbow might tend to want to jet forward to help with the rotation. So the hips, draw the hips back towards each other. Exhale down, and let's return both forearms to the mat. From here, forearms again are parallel. Reach the hands strongly into the earth, so much so that you're reaching through the hands, and then the elbows float off the mat. Exhale to tap the elbows back down. Inhale to lift them up. Exhale to tap the elbows down. Inhale, straighten through the arms. Exhale, elbows tap down. Inhale to float. And so we'll stay with the straight arms now. And the shoulder, the wrist should be a little bit in front of the shoulders at this point, so not stacked directly under them. If not, let's go ahead and walk them up so that they're about a hand's distance in front of the shoulders. And we'll all tuck the toes. And then on the next exhale, float the knees. And begin on the exhale to reach the sternum, again leading with the sternum, back towards the knees. As you lift the hips to the space where the ceiling meets the back wall. And from there, begin to straighten through the legs, whatever straight is for you today. We'll meet in downward facing dog here. Reach the crown of the head to the space between the hands. Full inhale here. Full exhale. Inhale, gaze forward between the mat. And step the left foot forward. And you can take a lot of steps. You can use that left hand to bring it up. As the left foot meets between the hands, we'll release the back knee to the mat. Untuck the toes. Draw the inner thighs towards each other. And then inhale, rise up, low lunge. Let's scissor the legs together as we reach the arms up. Inhale here. And then on the exhale, we'll take the left hand behind the head again as we did before, and we'll bring the right hand to the hip. And the hip hand is just going to remind us to help keep that hip still. Again, sometimes the hip's going to want to move with us, but we're working on isolating the movement to the upper back. So inhale here, and on the exhale, lifting with the sternum, can you reach the sternum a little bit closer to the ceiling? Just using this elbow to guide you back. Exhale, return to center. Inhale, reach the sternum just a little bit. It's ever so slight towards the ceiling. Exhale, return to neutral. And inhale, reach the sternum towards the ceiling. Exhale, return to neutral. Let's frame the foot with both hands. Tuck the back toes, lift that back knee, and step back to downward facing dog. Full inhale here. Full exhale. Inhale, gaze forward to the front of the mat, and step the right foot forward. And release the back knee to the mat. And you can take as many steps as necessary to get the foot to the front of the mat. No issues. And again, let's scissor the legs together. So draw the front heel towards the back knee and the back knee towards the front heel. Maybe you can notice this front hamstring opening, or even a little bit of engagement in this the back hip flexor will open and the front hamstring will be engaged. And we'll take our hand to this hip to just remind it to stay where it is, and the top hand behind the head. Inhale, reach the sternum ever so slightly. Exhale to center. Inhale to reach back. Tuck those low ribs in as we did in the beginning. Exhale to reach back and really engage in the legs as we talked about for that stability so that it's only moving at the upper back. Exhale, come back. Frame the front foot with the hands. Tuck the back toes and reach the heel towards the back of the mat. And then step back, downward facing dog. Full inhale here. Full exhale. Inhale, let's glide forward to plank pose. Draw the sternum towards the front of the mat as you broaden through the collarbones. And then we'll step down onto the right forearm and down onto the left forearm. So forearm side plank. And at any time, you can come to your knees to the place that would be right above the kneecaps. This is still plank, as long as you're drawing your hip points towards the backs of the spine. So find what works for you today. So here, whether the knees are down or whether they're floating, we're going to imagine now that our hip points or our hips will draw a rainbow. So reach the hip points to the left, nothing else is moving. And then exhale, reach them to the right. So I should say my toes are pivoting, but nothing is moving in the torso. So you can see my hips, my butt, just drawing this nice little rainbow design side to side. I continue to broaden through the collarbones, reach the sternum forward, and do this circling action at the hips. Reaching and breathing. And if you feel your face tightening, you can do that smile that we did again. Let's go one more each side. And find stillness in our forearm plank. Release both knees to the mat at the same time. Root down through the hands and then straighten through the arms. Again, hands should be a little in front of the shoulders. If not, let's move them there. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, and reach the sternum back towards the knees, downward facing dog. From here, let's gaze forward to the front of the mat and just walk the hands or the feet up to meet the hands. Bend the knees as much as necessary to make that happen as the torso drapes over the body. Root down through the feet, and on your next inhale, rise up. And here we are in mountain pose. Let's gaze down and ensure that the inner arches, inner feet are parallel. And I like to have my feet about hips width apart, which is about 2 fists apart. As we did in the beginning of class, just roll out the shoulders. They've already worked a lot in this class. A little bit both ways. And we'll take a full inhale here. Lift up the arms, gaze up, and on the exhale, let's release the left arm to the left side of the body and reach the right side long. Really root down through the right foot as you reach out through the right fingers. Feel this opening on the right side body. Inhale back to center, both arms up. Exhale, opposite way. So as you root down through the left foot now, extend out through the left arm and notice the opening in the left side of the body. And again, if the arm wants to come forward, see if you can draw it back, maybe in line with your ear. Inhale, both arms up, and we'll move a little quicker this time, side to side. This time drawing those circles that we've been coming back to with the arms. Inhale, both arms up, gaze up. And exhale, circle the arms back to the side. From here, if you're comfortable, let's bring the hands to the hips, and we'll be doing some leg balance. So if you'd like, you can even bring your hands to a wall or to a chair. So let's root down strongly through the right foot and float the left heel. And then with a micro bend in this extended leg, but firming the quadricep to the bone for this nice, strong base, let's float the toes. And from here, keeping in mind this circle, let's see if we can draw a big circle with this knee. Whatever that looks like for you can be what your version of big is today, and that might be different than what it is later today or tomorrow. And then we'll reverse directions. So playing with some balance here, drawing a circle with the knee. Also finding some hip mobility. Return to center, and then exhale, release that foot back to the earth. Let's root down through the left foot now. Float the right heel, and then peel the toes off the earth. Again, firm through the quadricep muscle, from that thigh muscle to the bone, with a micro bend in that standing leg to help it be really strong for you. And let's draw some circles. Finding some calm, maybe visualizing the circle. Where is your knee in space? Can help with the balance not to actually watch the moving knee, but to place your gaze on a single object and then just imagine in your mind's eye, let's reverse directions. Imagine in your mind's eye what those circles look like in your knee. And return to center and exhale the knee back to the earth. Come to the front of the mat now if you've moved. Inhale, circle the arms up, maybe gaze up. Exhale, fold forward to plant the hands onto the shins actually. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, bend the knees to place the hands on the mat. And step back with the left leg and then the right for plank pose. And now we'll place the left forearm on the mat and then the right forearm, coming back to this forearm plank. Again, knees can be down. So I'll demonstrate with the knees down version, but we're going to rock the hips side to side, creating those hip rainbows or butt rainbows or whatever you want to call them. So with the knees down, again, I'm going to reach the hip point towards the mat and then inhale up and over, opposite hip point towards the mat. Inhale, exhale. So the upper body is still, and this is just happening at the hips and the lower body. And so if the knees are down, you'll feel a little bit of rotation, or the pivot point, I should say, will be the knees. And if the knees are floating, then the pivot point is the toes. And you'll probably feel a lot of obliques, side abdominals working. That's good. That's what we want. And we'll all meet in center. And from here, we'll release the knees, the place right above the knees to the mat. Slowly release the thighs to the mat and the pelvis, and then the low belly. As we did in the beginning of class, root down through those forearms, broaden through the collarbones, and draw your pelvis and the tops of the feet strongly through the mat as you reach your sternum forward, maybe imagining a little bit up towards the ceiling. Sphinx pose here. So the forearms are parallel. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Can you imagine drawing the elbows back towards the back of the mat? It's just an energetic drawing. Just imagine doing that and reaching the sternum towards the front of the mat. And from here, let's tuck the toes. And either with bent knees or straight legs, you can come up basically in reverse order. So you can lift the pelvis. Imagine drawing the ribs into the body. Lift the pelvis and then float the knees. Return to forearm plank. Full inhale here. Full exhale. So keeping in mind those hip switches, let's reach the hips over to the right side, so much so that this time we come to the edges of the feet. So I'm on the pinky toe or the pinky edge of one foot and the inner arch of the other foot. So both heels are to the right side of the mat. Then from here, maybe I can come up onto the fingertips of that front arm. So rooting down through that bottom forearm, and maybe this arm can float for forearm plank. And if not, this arm can stay to the ground, or this leg can even come forward for another kickstand. So lots of options here. And here we'd have 4 points. And maybe we're still in forearm plank, and maybe we're in knees down forearm plank. All of these are a lot of work for the core. My core is definitely speaking to me now. So either way, no matter where you are, let's all meet back in this forearm plank variation. And then we'll slowly release with forearm plank variation with the knees down. Slowly release the pelvis to the earth. Untuck the toes, pass through Sphinx Pose. And this time we'll draw the hands back under the shoulders and release the front of the chest to the mat. And we can create a pillow with the hands here. So just coming to lay on our belly to take a bit of a breath. Full inhale here. Full exhale. Inhale. And exhale. I'm going to pivot around just to demonstrate from the opposite side, but you can take one more breath. And so from here, let's move with the pillow that is our hands right under the shoulders. And we'll tuck the back toes again. Draw the shoulder heads up as you draw the elbows towards each other. Reach the sternum forward. And then slide those hands forward to Sphinx Pose, just undoing what we did before. Draw the elbows energetically towards you as you allow the ribs to be absorbed into the body. And so you'll notice that the low belly will peel off the earth, and then the pelvis. Then we'll come onto the knees for this forearm plank variation. Tuck the toes if they're not tucked, and then reach the heels back, forearm plank. And this time, keeping in mind those hip switches, allow the hips to rotate to the left side of, or the opposite side of the mat. I'm opposite here. So much so that the heels come to face, all the heels are on that side of the mat. And then maybe this is where you are. Maybe you can come onto this top hand here, or maybe the top arm can extend up, forearm side plank. Full inhale here. Really root down through those straight legs. Firm the quadricep muscles to the bone. Root through that arm as you reach up, as we did in that first spinal rotation. Inhale here. Find your variation. Again, maybe this arm is down. Maybe this front leg comes as a kickstand. And no matter the variation, let's rotate back to forearm plank. Release the hips to the heels, or excuse me, release the knees to the mat. And then let's push the hands into the mat to lift the arms straight. So we're at this extended puppy pose, tabletop here. This is a lot of work for the core too. It is a hard position here. And we'll walk the hands back to the knees. We can begin to feel the body relax. Notice what's not being asked to work anymore. As we come to sit, the hips to the heels for hero's pose. And notice what was working, what is now relaxing. Give the shoulders a bit of a roll as we did at the beginning of practice. And in the opposite direction, how do they feel different? Full inhale here. Full exhale. And from here, just bring the hands to the right side of the knees as you draw the feet out to the left. And just walk yourself down to the forearm, and just nothing fancy, but with a lot of support. Bring yourself to the side to lay down, and then roll onto the back. And feel the back body on the earth. Maybe rock the hips side to side as we did before, but notice with the support, how is this a very different movement? Rocking the hips side to side now, and you can probably feel your sacrum almost being massaged on the earth. And let's reach the arms long like a T shape, so the hands reaching in opposition from each other. And then on the exhale, just give yourself a hug. And then inhale, reach them long like that T shape. And exhale, opposite arm on top, give yourself a hug. Inhale, open like a T shape. Exhale, cross, give yourself a hug. Inhale, open. Exhale, give yourself a hug. Let's open now. Again, maybe rock the hips side to side one last time. And I will sit up to cue you, but I invite you to stay here and lay down for your final relaxation pose and listen to my voice. And I invite you, as you lay, to imagine a circle being drawn around the body, from the head all the way around to the hands, meeting at the feet. So tracing this circle all the way around the body. I just noticed that Natalie said hi. Natalie, if you're still there, it's super exciting to see you. Hi. So again, on the inhale, maybe imagine now the circle starting at the feet and then rounding all the way up, meeting at the top of the head. And then exhale, the line of the circle goes back around to the feet. So inhale, circle all the way up. Exhale, start the circle at the top of the head and move it back down to the feet. And I will leave you here, but again, it would be lovely if you are able to take the next 5 or 10 minutes for yourself in this position, just breathing, maybe visualizing the circle, maybe circling if you've had a part of your body that feels a little tight, painful, that you've had some mixed emotions with in the past, just imagining that circle around that part of the body and seeing how our relationship changes with it. So thank you for practicing with me today. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave them. My name is Amy. In yoga, we say namaste to thank you. Thank the teacher in front of you, the teacher within you, and all of the people in the tribe community. Namaste.